You see here what terrible shape the frame is. Well, this is a piece under the frame. This here's the piece under the frame right here that all this bolts to. That's a fucking problem. The other side's worse. I'll take you over there and show you. That's what this bolts to. You know? So, there's more here than the owner knew. There's more here than I knew. You never know what you're getting into till you get under it. But see, this is all rotted out. That's your substructure that your frame welds to. So I got to get this cup off of here and see what the fuck is left of this. Owner's gonna have to get a phone call soon because this is getting into above and beyond our assessment. Alright, let's take a look at what we've done here. This is the inside. The floor pan actually works down to this. This is that portion of your subframe on a unibody. The frame itself, the rear frame members attach here. I got everything that I can't get to later, and then I have to weld up. Shot and weld through primer. I understand this copper stuff's all the craze now versus the zinc, and I don't understand the particulars. If anybody's got that information, holler at me. Anyhow, I can get to all of this from underneath the car. Once I put that frame rail on, this is extinct. It's gone. So we got all the sheet metal from the floor off of it. Let's look at this before we cleaned it up. Same thing over here. My son came in today. It's Friday after Turkey Day. He actually went through and he ground down all the old spot welds and cleaned this piece up. There's a lot of boogers along here where the metal tore. So the next process is, I'm going to try to do this before we have to go. I don't know, we're all riding together today and the girls are out. So I got to use a rust neutralizer, converter, whatever. It seemed to work out really well on that part. I tried sandblasting some of it. The stuff I'm using says don't sandblast it. So we're going to convert the rust. That way Monday morning I can paint it and I'm off to the races. This is what we're working on. It's a Firebird, 1970. Let's take a look. I got the floor hole. I'm going to have to get in here, actually find all my spot welds and cut them. Drill them and cut them, hopefully not damage anything that I got to weld to. This is the new pan section for the passenger. That's the new pan section for the driver's side. I got them cut, the holes cut real small, and I'll bring them out once I can get the piece in there and fitted roughly and start trimming it. I don't just go and start whacking shit. And my final cut will probably be with a cutoff tool instead of one of these. Now this probably gets the highlight of tool of the fucking millennium. This actually is just your Harbor Freight plasma cutter, 220 plasma cutter. Cuts everything and more than what we need. The floor pan was starting to deteriorate badly, which is why we're going ahead and taking it out. This is a sequence of unforeseens after unforeseens. Okay, so there you go. We had unforeseen work to do on this car, which actually doubled the amount of time it's going to take to complete it. We brought the owner in, showed him what commitment we were dealing with and why, and then he did agree to the additional work. We got the additional work order signed, deposit delivered for that. You keep up to date with everybody, and it's easier for everybody to work together this way. You're working with your car owner. I'm going to turn the camera over to Rowan, and I'm going to put this rust killer on here. I'll kind of show you what we're doing with it. So without further ado. Alright, little man, you're going to follow my hands, and if I start talking you can flip up to my face if I'm not doing anything important. We got the rust killer. You can put it in a cup or whatever. I just pour a little bit on the object. This table is going to become, this is going to be the function of this table. Things like this. I think it's a phosphoric acid base. That's what it smells like. You just take a brush and put it on. It says to put 3 to 4 light coats on. I don't think what I'm doing is considered a light coat. I may be screwing up, but it worked once. I see it working again, probably with 0 hitches to deal with. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to slather it on here, brush it out. If I get any pooling, I'll go ahead and draw it out with the brush. It neutralizes with water, is what the instructions say. It says to 3 or 4 coats and allow it to set for 24 hours. The last one I let set a little longer, and then I took it out and I rinsed it and scrubbed it with a Scotch-Brite and water. And then I set it off the side to do its thing. Let it dry up, and then I can come back and coat it with the copper float-through primer. So we're just applying the thin, brushing this on. That's all. It's that simple. It's that easy. We've made some repairs to this where we damaged it. Got the frame rail off.
Oops.
Rowan's learning to be a cameraman, so we'll see how much of this is usable material when I get home. Alright, so we're just cruising right along. It doesn't take much time. Doesn't take a lot of effort. Don't flop the brush around. You flop it on your clothes, consider them ruined, and wash your hands. I should be wearing gloves. I'm not. Foolhardy on my part. Don't do as I do on this one. But again, I'm being taking special care not to get it on my clothes, on my hands, or anything of the sort. So it's pretty good. Take it over. Now work it down into these particular areas like this. Get down in here. I think this is for what, the emergency brake cable, perhaps? I don't know. I'll have to go back and review the video and the pictures. But we're just going to make sure everything's wet. That's the idea, is wet everything out. If you have it pooling, come back through and drag it out once you dry your brush off. That's pooling down here. Yeah, the stuff definitely, it's, what is it, 75% phosphoric acid. I understand if you can find the raw chemicals, one, it's cheaper because you're not buying a chemical, damn it, you're not buying a product at that point, it's just a chemical. Does that make sense? You can get muriatic acid at flooring stores. I just haven't gone out, like, hardwood, tile, flooring stores. Flooring guys use muriatic acid to wash concrete when they're going to put tile or flooring down. If they have to wash the floor, they use muriatic acid, generally speaking. Last time I bought it, I think it was like 10, 15, 20 bucks a gallon. It was pretty inexpensive, especially for the coverage you get, because you can water it down and really stretch that product out. If you go that route, I mean, there's so many chemicals that we use on a day-to-day basis in a shop that are either direct descendants or precisely the direct complement of just a raw chemical or a raw product on a shelf. Guys buy parts cleaner for gobs of money per 5 gallon. You can go next to it on the shelf and get mineral spirits, which is essentially the same thing. There's a few detergents missing. So yeah, there's a lot of chemicals out there that are ubiquitous, cross-use, cross-reference. It doesn't take a name brand product to meet your needs. I got this because, well, quite frankly, I stay at the shop as much as possible, and they deliver. So that's done. That's taken care of there. Yeah, you got chemicals that cross-reference quite often, and I can get into that a little bit, I reckon. Your reducers, you can use lacquer thinner on lacquer paint. You can use urethane reducer and enamel reducer on lacquer paint. And as you go up those steps, you can't use lacquer thinner on enamel, but you can use urethane reducer or enamel reducer. Likewise, you get up to urethanes and the such, your solvent-based paints, all you can use is urethane reducer. All we stock is urethane reducer at this point, other than lacquer thinner for cleaning. Mineral spirits works for parts cleaning cabinets. Your clear coat hardeners are ubiquitous with your enamel hardeners. Same fucking thing, folks. It's the same deal. What makes single stage shiny are the same chemicals that make clear coat shiny, just with no pigment. Do a little bit of work, do a little bit of research on the chemicals you're using. One, you'll find out just how detrimental they are to your person. And two, you'll find out how many of them cross-reference accordingly. There's so many chemicals out there that you use on a day-to-day basis that are cross-compatible. And there's even more that aren't. So you want to know what chemicals you're trying to use together and causing greater harm to yourself or your project. We're going to get out of here. Tomorrow is our Thanksgiving, and we're going to go home and clean and cook so we can go over to family. In the morning or afternoon, we can do that. So I'll come back to this thing. Monday morning. It'll be dry. I'll scrub it. I'll shoot on weld through primer. And if anybody knows why copper is such a big thing now versus the zinc, I read it in the magazine once. How's that? But that's what they delivered me. I told them what I wanted and they sent it out to me. I've got fairly good suppliers. I tell them I need the best of something, they'll send me that. I tell them I need the economy of something, they send me that. So they listen to my needs. And some things aren't worth the extra money. Alright, we're out. Wow, made it to the end of the video. Thanks for checking in. Come back on the next one. See what the hell we're up to next time. Subscribe, comment. Find us on over on the old Facebook, Smith Welding Restoration LLC on Facebook. Numbers at the beginning. Have any questions? Call.